Let's get in global market perspective going. Jeevan Lole, Head of Global Research at Lloyds Banking Group, joins us right now on the phone line. Jeevan, what do you make of the cues that are coming out? The last 2 or 3 days, we've ranged from getting fairly decent set of cues to also slightly disturbing set of cues. How do you map the course of what the equity markets would do in light of the kind of news that are coming out?
A good day, Neeraj and Aisha. Thank you for having me on. I think what we're getting now is a sort of a barrier. We have to admit that sentiment is significantly better for the year than at the start of the year, but it's now morphing from some of the immediate concerns we had then into political risk, and that's what's stalking the region at this moment. And it's not the immediate financing concerns, so there's not that sort of emergency around it. It's more about understanding some of the underlying issues and how significant they could be. So for me, obviously, today we've got this general strike in Spain, which is getting a lot of attention. Because it's very difficult. The government's committed to the cause where it's going to be tough. And it's a big issue for the markets. And we've also got political risk in Italy with the labour market reforms. And in Greece as well, we're potentially facing elections probably early on in May. And still a lot of uncertainty about the political risk involved. So I think we're getting back into sort of the crux of the matter. We're away from the immediate sort of emergency concerns and back into sort of what's going to be required by the economies in the euro to make this project work. And unfortunately, we need to see signs of growth, and we need to see signs of confirmation that they're willing to take the medicine that's required. And at this moment, it's going to be tough, but hopefully we pull through.
Jeevan, what about oil? How do you think oil will figure out in the scheme of things, the way it's moving and the kind of impact it will have on the sentiment per se?
Yeah, I think it's a key point. It's sentiment from oil, and also short-term inflation, and the other factor of it is what it means for consumer spending. And I suppose the outlook, on oil is because it's so uncertain. And it's fair enough when oil is demand-driven and it's moving up, but when it's sort of the current issues that we've got some sort of supply, it's hard to predict where it's going to be. And it's a definite negative, not just for Europe, but for the global economy. It's good to see that countries are, though, realizing that and talking about releasing strategic reserves and providing whatever support they can do. But unfortunately, our own forecasts show we're not going to get much relief. And I think it is probably now, after we've dealt with a lot of the European issues, I think in terms of immediate concerns, oil is probably the #1 global concern at this moment.
Okay, Jeevan, good to have you on the show.